The year is 1830, a revolution is brewing in the streets of Brussels. People are singing patriotic songs, they are waving homemade flags. For centuries, the lands we now call Belgium had been passed between empires. They were ruled by Spain, then Austria, then France, and finally the Netherlands. But now, the people wanted their own country. They fought for their independence, and they won. A new nation, Belgium, was born. And with a new nation comes the need for new symbols. A flag, a king, and, of course, its very own money. Imagine the excitement. No longer would they use Dutch guilders, they would have Belgian francs. Creating a national currency was a top priority for the young government. It was a declaration of sovereignty. It was a practical necessity for trade and daily life. So, in 1832, the Royal Mint of Belgium was established in Brussels. Its mission was clear. It needed to produce coins for the new kingdom, from the smallest copper centimes to the largest silver francs. This wasn't just about making money, it was about forging an identity. Every coin that jingled in a citizen's pocket would be a tiny metal reminder of their newfound freedom and national pride. It was a powerful tool to unite a diverse population under one king and one country. The first king, Leopold I, was a clever choice. He was a German prince with family ties to the British royal family. He brought stability and international recognition to the fledgling nation. His portrait would soon grace the silver and gold coins. But for the common person, the most important coins were the small copper ones. These were the coins of the marketplace, used to buy bread, milk, or a newspaper. They were the tangible connection between the grand project of nation building and the everyday lives of ordinary Belgians. They were the people's money, the very foundation of the new economy. So, the stage was set. Belgium was independent. It had a king and a government. It had a brand new mint ready to fire up its presses. The task was to create coins that were not only functional, but also symbolic. They had to represent the values of this new European state. They needed to be durable enough for daily commerce, and beautiful enough to inspire a sense of national belonging. The journey of Belgium's copper coins was about to begin. It was a story that would be written in metal, reflecting the nation's triumphs, its struggles, and its unique character for over a century and a half. Let's travel back to 1832. The Royal Mint is buzzing with activity. The presses are ready to strike the very first coins for the Kingdom of Belgium. And what were these first coins? They were the humble copper 1, 2, 5 and 10 centime pieces. These were the workhorses of the new currency. They were designed by a man named Joseph Pierre Brandt. He was the general engraver of the Brussels Mint. Brandt was a brilliant artist. His job was to capture the spirit of the new nation on these small, circular canvases of metal. He had to create a design that everyone could understand and feel proud of. Brandt chose a powerful and ancient symbol for the front, or obverse, of the coins. He chose the Belgian lion. This was not just any lion. This was the Leo Belgicus, a symbol of strength and courage that had represented the Low Countries for centuries. The lion stands, one paw raised, ready to defend the nation. Around the lion, Brandt placed the national motto, "L'union fait la force." This means, unity makes strength. It was a message to the French-speaking and Dutch-speaking communities. It told them they must work together to build a strong country. It was a brilliant piece of political messaging, right there in your hand. On the other side, the reverse, the design was simple and clear. It showed the value of the coin, for example, 5 centimes, surrounded by a wreath of oak leaves. Oak leaves are a classic symbol of civic virtue and endurance. Below the value, you can see the date, 1832, and the letter B. This little B was the mint mark for Brussels, telling everyone exactly where the coin was made. The design was elegant, balanced, and full of meaning. It was a perfect start for the new coinage, combining tradition with a clear message for the future of the new Belgian state. These first coins were made of pure copper. They were quite large and heavy compared to modern coins. A 10 centimes piece, for instance, was about the size of a modern €2 coin. Imagine the satisfying weight of them in your hand. Joseph Pierre Brandt's design was so successful and so beloved that it remained in use for decades. For nearly 70 years, his Belgian lion would stand guard on the nation's copper currency. It became a familiar sight, a constant in a changing world, a small piece of art that passed through the hands of millions of Belgians, generation after generation. Making a coin in the 19th century was a physical and demanding process. It was a blend of artistry and industrial might. First, the artist, our friend Joseph Pierre Brempt, would painstakingly carve his design into a steel block. This was the master die. It was a work of art in reverse. Every detail, from the lion's fur to the letters of the motto, had to be perfect. This master die was then used to create working dies. These were the tools that would actually strike the coins. It was a highly skilled job. A mistake in the engraving could ruin thousands of coins and waste precious metal. The mint would receive large ingots of pure copper. These were heated and rolled into long, thin sheets, a bit like making pastry. The sheets had to be rolled to the exact thickness required for the coin. If the sheet was too thick, the coin would be too heavy. If it was too thin, it would be too light. From these sheets, a machine would punch out blank discs of metal. These were called planchets. They were plain, flat, and lifeless. They were then heated to soften them, a process called annealing, making them ready to receive the design from the powerful steam-powered coin press. Now, for the magic moment. A blank planchet was fed into the coining press. The press held two dies, one for the obverse, the lion, and one for the reverse, the value. With a tremendous crash, the dies would strike the plancha. The immense pressure forced the soft metal to flow into every tiny detail of the dies. In that instant, a plain disc was transformed. It now had a face, a value, and a story. The process also created the rim around the edge of the coin, which helped to protect the design from wear and tear. Thousands of coins could be made in a single day. Sometimes things didn't go perfectly. This is where it gets exciting for collectors. You might find coins with slight variations. Some have a wider rim, others a narrower one. Sometimes a die would crack, leaving a small raised line on the coin. On rare occasions, coins were struck over older coins, creating something called an overstrike, where you can faintly see traces of the old design underneath the new one. These little imperfections are not mistakes to a collector. They are clues. They are tiny windows into the history of the minting process, each one telling a unique story of its creation. As Belgium grew and changed, so did its coins. One of the most important changes reflected the country's linguistic diversity. The first coins, you'll remember, had the motto "L'Union fait la force" written only in French. This made sense in 1832, as French was the official language of the new government. However, a large part of the population in the north, in Flanders, spoke Dutch. As the 19th century progressed, the Flemish movement grew, demanding equal status for the Dutch language. The government had to listen. This political struggle is written directly onto the coins. In 1886, something remarkable happened. For the first time, new copper coins were issued with Dutch inscriptions. The new 1 and 2 centime pieces were a breakthrough. On one side, they had the name of the country in French, Belgique. On the other side, it was in Dutch, België. The motto also became bilingual. Coins now showed both l'Union, Fayat, La Force, and its Dutch equivalent, Eendracht, Macht, Macht. This was a huge moment. It was a public, official acknowledgement that Belgium was a nation of two languages, a bilingual kingdom. The money in people's pockets now spoke to them in their own tongue. The design also changed to reflect the ruler of the day. After Leopold I died, his son Leopold II became king. New coins were minted featuring his monogram, a stylish intertwining of the letter L. Later, under King Albert I, the coins changed again, but the biggest change to the metal itself was driven by economics and war. Pure copper became expensive. During World War I, when Belgium was occupied by Germany, metals were scarce. The mint started using cheaper materials. Zinc coins were produced. They were lighter and didn't last as long, but they were a necessity of wartime. After the war, the mint began experimenting with alloys. Instead of pure copper, they used bronze, which is a mix of copper, tin, and zinc. Later, they used copper-nickel. These alloys were cheaper and often more durable than pure copper. The designs continued to evolve. We see miners, symbolizing Belgium's industrial strength, and the portrait of Ceres, the Roman goddess of agriculture. The coins tell a story of a nation moving from a purely symbolic representation of itself, with its lion, to one that celebrated its workers, its industry, and its multilingual identity. The coins became a mirror of a modernizing society. The 20th century was a turbulent time for Belgium, and its coins reflect this. The Second World War brought another period of German occupation. Once again, metal was in short supply. The Germans confiscated bronze and copper-nickel coins to melt down for the war effort. To keep the economy going, Belgium had to issue coins made of zinc. These coins are a somber reminder of a dark and difficult period. After the war, Belgium had to rebuild. New coins were minted, heralding a return to peace and prosperity. The designs looked forward, showing a country ready to embrace a new future in Europe. For the second half of the 20th century, the Belgian franc remained the nation's currency. The copper and bronze centime coins, though smaller and made of different alloys, continued to be a part of daily life. They featured the portrait of the reigning monarch, from King Baudouin to King Albert II. But a new idea was taking hold across the continent, the idea of a united Europe. Leaders believed that a common currency would tie the nations of Europe closer together, preventing future wars and creating a powerful economic bloc. The plan was ambitious: to replace ancient national currencies with one single currency, the euro. The decision was made. On January 1, 2002, the euro became the official currency of Belgium and 11 other European countries. The age of the Belgian franc, and with it, the centime, was over. For a short period, both francs and euros were used side by side. It must have been a strange time, with two completely different sets of coins and banknotes in your wallet. Then, on March 1, 2002, the Belgian franc ceased to be legal tender. After 170 years, the coins that had served the nation since its birth were withdrawn from circulation, destined to be melted down. But this is not a sad ending. It is why we, as collectors and history lovers, cherish these old coins so much. The early copper coins, especially those designed by Brandt, are highly sought after. They are not just pieces of metal. They are the first words spoken by a new nation. They represent the hope and pride of independence. They are miniature works of art that carry the story of their engravers, the history of their mints, and the political struggles of their time. They are the tangible ghosts of a currency, a physical link to the pockets and purses of the very